This is a Tape Deck podcast.
Hello and welcome back to We'll Run For. This is your host Tom, and with me as always are Aaron.
Hello.
Michael.
Hello.
And Diana.
Hi.
I don't know why I got thrown off there because sometimes when we do regular episodes, Tom pauses for us all to say hello. But in the Runner Studios, he says Aaron, Michael, and Diana. And for some reason, I got confused.
It's okay.
Which is why I didn't.
I also don't. I don't think I've ever asked you. Is there a reason why you do it 2 different ways?
I think this to set the stage for the Runner Studios that this is a truncated format, and then let's get down to business.
To defeat the Huns.
To defeat the Huns. Yeah. Rather than here, it's a longer format, so the niceties have to be observed.
Oh, I see. Well, it confused me for a moment because I was like, "Oh wait, I'm supposed to say something now."
That's okay. We've only been doing this for like three years or so. 2 years? I don't know.
2.5. Oh, more than 2.5 at this point,
Yeah.
right?
Just about 2.5, yeah.
Yeah. Gosh.
It should be old.
It's a long time, guys.
It should be old hat at this point,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Oh, is that what that's supposed to
I
mean?
guess. So how are you all?
Good. We are pre-recording this, so we'll give ourselves time-wise away. Thanksgiving
Mm-hmm.
was delicious.
Yes, it was.
Lots and lots of food in my stomach. I ate so much stuffing that I literally thought I was going to explode.
Yeah, stuffing is my favorite part of Thanksgiving.
There's no other point in having
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Amy Chase and I spent the day of Thanksgiving talking about stuffing.
Yeah, stuffing is incredible. Also, I felt like I went through, I don't know, the majority of my life only having stuffing really on Thanksgiving. You can just make stovetop whenever you feel like. So we've started to do that
Yeah.
more.
We do that.
Like, I don't know. I feel like my
Yeah.
family only had stuffing on holidays. Like, I don't go
It's
all
true.
out and do like the bread and the we do sausage stuffing, which is incredible. Like, we don't do all that, but just to do stovetop, we do that a lot when we make chicken now.
Oh, that should be.
That's a good idea.
We're going to need to make a poll about that. Sausage in your stuffing or no sausage in your stuffing? I'm a no sausage
Oh, how dare you?
gal for my stuffing.
All right.
No.
Well, it
Get
was nice.
out.
It was nice talking to you.
No.
We're
And
gonna-
also, if you guys want oysters in your stuffing, get the hell out of here.
Ew,
Like,
what?
no one
Absolutely not.
wants any part
Absolutely
of
not.
that. Ugh.
Yes. It was just Thanksgiving, and as of right now, there are 37 days until Walt Disney World Marathon weekend.
Whoop, whoop.
And
Yeah.
this is our uber professional race weekend preview episode.
Yes. Yes, it is.
But Michael, before we get to that, do we have any 5-star reviews?
We do. It's a little more feedbacky than a review, but we do. And we appreciate it either way. As always, remember, share the show, reviews, all that. We appreciate it. So we have Taking It Easy by DW for Me. Don't be hard on yourself for returning slowly. I did something to my knee after my last long wine and dine run. Don't know what, but my knee grew 3 sizes.
Mm.
After 2 weeks of laser massages, acupuncture, Motrin, and icing, and absolutely no running, I was able to complete the challenge. Waiting for an MRI now. I talked with Jeff Galway at the expo before the races, and he told me just to cut way back on run walk time. Told me that he's running at 5 to 10 seconds and then walking for a few minutes. He was really excited to be doing that pace. As we recover from injuries, or in Jeff's case, death, it's okay to return what you feel comfortable with. As runners, I feel like we were harder on ourselves than we probably need to be. After all, it really is supposed to be fun. I was a little taken aback because I didn't realize Jeff had died.
Zombie.
But
Jeff
I
Galloway?
assume it meant, I assume because I assume his heart attack was extremely bad. I wasn't fully aware of the extent of it, but if he's only running 5 to 10 seconds at a time, it must have been a pretty bad.
I didn't realize he had a heart attack.
I remember that.
That was like a year ago,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it before last marathon?
No, it was April 21st.
April 21st. Yeah. Yeah. So it must have been pretty severe.
Sorry, April 20th of 2021. So it's been like well over a year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. So that must have been pretty severe then so, I mean, if he can slowly come back, anybody can slowly come back after a severe heart incident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just listen to your body and
Yeah.
do what you got to do.
I really liked that
Agreed.
because they talked about actually taking some time off, and it does suck. But in the
Yes.
grand scheme of life, what's taking a couple months off to feel better, in the long run, rather than
During
putting
it happening, it feels grander than it probably is. I mean, you're probably more accurately correct, but in the grand scheme of life, but while it's happening to you, I know it can be really tough and it might feel like it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a lot of races on the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I get you.
Yeah. I don't know. It's I don't know. You feel better once you've taken the time off.
Yeah. If you heal up, it's always
it's
better.
worth it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, DW for me is healing up as well post wine and dine.
Yeah.
All right, so do we want to preview race weekend?
Sure. Do we want to get into your final training bits here? I mean, I know you have 2 weeks left of high mileage before taper,
3
right?
weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah, because your peak week would be. I mean, you just did your first 20 miler, Tom. I'm super proud of you. But yeah, the weekend of the 17th, 18th is your last 20 miler, right?
I believe so.
I was gonna let Tom talk because I talk a lot.
No.
I just kept waiting for him to say something.
And I was waiting for you.
Tom,
Yeah, I
Tom,
guess
you
that's
take it.
And you
You
kind
take
of
it.
gave it to him, and then he didn't take it. So
I figured it was his
know.
first time doing
Yeah,
something
that's
like
why
this.
that's why I was kind of trying. I was trying
apologies
to pitch that at you there, Tom. I'll re-pitch that to
I
you.
didn't swing.
Yeah, I mean, you actually have a few more weeks, right? Your peak week would be the 17th, 18th. That seems about right. That's 3 weeks before?
Yeah, that's our last 20 miler before taper.
Okay.
We do have a couple back-to-back weekends in there where we'll do a 10 miler and a 15 miler. So we do have some other longer runs, but the first 20 miler was yesterday, and it went, I think, as good as it possibly could have gone. I mean, I only threw 5 to 6 to 7 tantrums, but Diana hung in there with me.
So you ran all 20. I was actually wondering about that because I saw Nikki and Nicole were together. So you and Diana stuck the whole thing out together?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she put up with a lot. But we've been fueling properly. A little aside.
It's important.
My go-to fueling for the longest time has been these chocolate outrage.
I used to use those.
The goose
Mhm.
I can't do chocolate.
They're like pudding.
in my head tastes like a snack pack.
Yeah, they actually. I think they
They're
taste like
pudding.
yeah, like frosting almost,
Yeah.
just like
I used to
pudding
love
mix,
them
yeah.
And within the
until
last
my stomach turned.
within the last 3 weeks, I can't get them down anymore.
Yeah.
that'll happen. Yeah.
It's to the point where they trigger a dry heave, and
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this? What is this reaction?
We warned you that was coming because that was
Yeah.
all you were using forever, and I said you need to mix it up
Yeah,
because
you
that's
gotta
what
mix
I
it up.
did,
Yeah.
and then
Do
you can't even
you-
get them down.
Do you take water at the same time, or do you just try and
Most of the time, I do. Yes.
okay?
Yeah.
And even liquefying them a little bit hasn't been helping.
Okay. How it works is I hold my breath completely.
What?
I squeeze the
my
entire
God.
thing into my mouth, and
Well, maybe that's part of
And
the
then
It's like
problem.
I don't understand
So
why
I
I keep
can't-
getting these stitches in my
Hold on.
side when I drink water while I
and
run.
then I put a lot of water in there, and I swallow the whole thing whole, like you swallow an oyster.
Why?
You should try. I would recommend
Look,
doing the packet in thirds.
Yeah.
Take a third of it,
Put a little water.
Drink some water.
Swallow.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
do a third of it, then
That's
yeah.
typically
Tom,
what I did. I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like we may have solved the problem.
I feel like the whole packet at once.
Maybe it's
might
not
be
that
a
your body
issue.
is betraying you about the goose. Maybe it's the way that you are betraying your body by taking the goose.
Also, he came home and yelled at me like it was my fault, like I wished that upon him because I had warned him about it. He came home and was like, I
First of
couldn't
all-
take my goo.
All of a sudden, you suggest that it's going to, come back on me, and then it did.
And then it did.
You manifested
She has
this.
a little voodoo doll.
She brought this into existence, and you can't
She
tell
has
me
a little
otherwise.
doll that she took some goo and like put it on the voodoo doll so that this is what
Yeah.
happened.
The other thing is Tom ordered a new Camelback.
Oh, God. Yeah, because of the lost one. Yeah.
Because I wore it one time at Rockin' the Knob, then it disappears.
It disappeared.
And so, okay, so the Camelback worked perfectly fine. I had plenty of water. We maintained good intervals throughout. We did flip them at like the midway point, but like that's part of my strategy. Because if I can do the 5-10 half, and then in the full, if I can maintain certain intervals and then flip them at the midpoint, it's part of my overall strategy on how to manage that marathon.
Yeah.
That's good.
He actually made it a little further than halfway, so we didn't switch the interval until like mile 13. So
That's good.
yeah, you did a nice job.
Yeah, you're going to have to be flexible that day because a lot of it's going to depend on weather and things like that too, If it's like a hot year like the past couple, then you're going to want to get, keep your intervals as long as you can before you start, because you're probably going to start fully walking at some point if we have those 80, like another 80-degree
we won't,
marathon.
because that's what I want, and I'll be there.
You're the jinx.
It'll be like 30 degrees, and everyone will be yelling at me.
And if it's raining, you're just want to get it done because it's miserable. So
yeah,
there's that.
So yeah, my confidence is pretty high right now based on just that 120 miler, but we'll see how the rest of training goes and just take it day by day. But yeah, I feel pretty good.
Yeah, how you feeling today?
A little sore.
That's not bad though. After your first 20,
not too bad.
I mean, if you're only a little sore, that means you've been, building up correctly.
Mm-hmm.
No, I tend to complain about 30% more than I actually should. Like if I'm at a 7, everyone's gonna think I'm at a 10. But that's self-awareness.
Yeah.
Like I can walk today. Like
Yeah.
I didn't think that would be possible.
And we went out last night.
Yeah.
Yo, there you go. Look at that.
So
It's like this thing called training
Yeah.
works.
Like it
Yeah,
works.
the training's been working.
Yeah.
Who knew?
And we're supposed to do 8 today. I woke up not feeling well, sore throat, because as we've mentioned several times, my immune system actively works against me instead of for me. And because we're leaving for Disney this week, I didn't want to risk it. So I went out and I walked 3. And Tom, I don't know, you said that I don't think you were going to plan on doing the 8. You might get on the bike, is I think what you said. So
I will probably jump on the bike and get a couple rides in.
Just get some cross training in.
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm just doing the 3, and now it's pouring raining here. So we wanted to get
I
a
went
couple.
out this morning to try and beat the rain. Yeah, with my Dopey training.
Yeah.
I will say, and I do not want to jinx it, and I'm probably going to jinx it, but the weather gods have definitely shined upon this Dopey training, because whenever we have to do a long run, it's been dry and it's definitely been above freezing. Like some of them have been colder, but like not terrible.
Yeah.
And I'm much better running like 10 plus miles in 40s.
Yeah. I feel like in 2017, it got down to the 20s in October. Like immediately it was freezing the entire time we were training. So,
Well, the freezing is good if it's going to be cold in Disney because that prepares you. Honestly, has it not? I don't want to say that. Never mind.
What?
I'm not going to jinx the world. I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to jinx
There's
the
no
entire rest of
there's
no, but
such thing
there
as
are
jinxes.
plenty of people and listeners that while you may not believe things are
That's
a jinx,
fine. They can believe
I
what they
won't
want.
put it into
you
the-
can't make the weather happen.
I
I'm
will
just
not
letting
put
you
it
know.
into the
No,
universe.
don't put that badness
Michael,
out
I
there.
don't know
I'm
if
not
you
gonna
understand
put-
science, but if I say it's going to...
Listen, I agree that the science part of my brain says it's not going to work. But there's plenty of other people that believe in the universe. And so I will just not put that badness into it.
I will say 2017, I ran. Was it 2017 when I ran? Yeah, I ran my first marathon. That was a very cold year.
Yeah.
It was windy the whole time. That was the year the half was canceled. And running in the cold up here did not help me enjoy the cold down there anymore.
Well, I'm not. Well, that's a different story of
No.
enjoying. Enjoying is a different word.
No.
But I do actually. I have in the past for like marathons, run in the rain on purpose because you never know what will happen on race day.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's
I
true.
will actually be like, ugh.
Well, I think part of it is knowing what to do in different conditions to keep yourself good.
I'll only
Yeah.
do it if it's freezing and raining. I will not go out and train in it.
Yeah, there's no point because then you're just gonna get sick anyway.
Yeah,
but
it's just miserable. But like if it's warm and rainy, I actually don't mind that.
Yeah, I don't mind. I
Yeah.
like warm rain
In this-
as long as there's no lightning and thunder.
Yeah, in this summer, sometimes like I wish it would rain to break the humidity. I'm like, if it would just rain for like 10 minutes, it would feel so much better out here.
Yeah. Michael and I ran in the rain a few times this summer, but then I don't know because I don't know what's worse because then right after you run in the rain, sometimes it gets like that, like after rain where like the steam comes off
in the
off
summer,
the road,
yeah, and it's like
even worse, and you're in a sauna.
like you're in a sauna.
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know what's worse. Anyway,
But as people finish their training and head into taper, realize it's normal to, if you've never like tapered or whatever before, it's normal to feel weird tapering.
oh yeah, taper is they like jokingly. There's memes and stuff where they joke around about taper madness.
Yeah.
But it's real. Like, all of a sudden you'll feel like, oh, is that a cold coming on? Oh, is that my foot feeling like it's gonna act up again? What's that twitchy feeling in my
Well, I think the biggest thing
hamstring?
is you feel like you're not doing enough.
Yeah.
Those last like 2
Those
weeks
last
or whatever,
couple of
2.5
weeks.
weeks. But you shouldn't. Just don't.
There's a science to tapering.
It's better to do nothing than
Yeah.
do too
and
much.
Michael, more than anyone, I think, has learned that
I have nailed the science.
okay, I will not go with that, but I will say that he never believed me about tapering properly. And then, no, you used to run like long runs the weekend before, and
No.
then we had yes,
All right, maybe.
and,
Maybe.
and then we had a couple of DNFs, and he was like, "Oh, maybe we should like."
oh, well, that
taper
was
more
the rock and
properly.
the knobs.
Well, that
thing.
wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, there. In general, just over the like, tapering is a real thing.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you should actually
that
taper.
we did learn a lesson from
And-
that. Yeah.
Taking rest and allowing your body to rest and recover itself from
Correct.
all the hard work
Mhm.
you've done. It does not mean you will lose the fitness that you have gained from all of that. It actually just allows your muscles to actually repair themselves so that they can be strong enough to take you into their strongest
Yes.
point in race day.
Yes.
Yeah.
But to be
So
fair, we did
trust-
something really stupid.
Well, I mean, it wasn't just then. I mean, I'm just saying, in general, you've always been like, I don't need to taper. But you really
Yes.
should taper.
No, I always tapered. I don't know what you're
So
talking
here's a
about.
question.
That one time.
Can we not argue about this?
This
One
is not
time I
about
messed up.
tapering. But I have a question
One
about
time.
tapering. For the average runner, whatever that means, do you have to taper for anything less than a full marathon?
I taper for a half.
Yes.
Like you taper for a half?
I think you can taper for
Yeah.
a half.
I
Okay.
mean,
it's probably not as critical as a full, but
No.
yeah, it's
I would
certainly-
disagree with you
certainly
completely,
helpful.
especially for a first-time half marathoners, that tapering is not necessary for a half marathon.
I just said it's not as critical as a full.
I just disagree with you.
Yeah, and you also don't like
think-
turkey.
For a first-time half marathoner, it is critical for them to taper.
All right.
So marathon weekend.
My God,
I didn't know I
I don't know
lived
why
with
you
a
have to
coach.
argue about everything.
I didn't. I just offered my opinion.
This is what we should offer the Patreons. Like if we had like a special Patreon subscription thing, we would just get arguments.
Us bickering.
People would pay for that.
Oh God.
Yeah, but tapering is good. And
Yeah,
you'll feel weird, but
yeah, it does feel weird. And we've got tapering like built into our plan. So like Aaron
That's
said, we've got a 10 and a 20 the weekend of the 17th. And then we go down to like a 16 and an 8th. And then New Year's Eve, like weekend, we have 8 and 3. So I'm in the following
it keeps
weekend.
you in a flow without,
Yeah, if you actually follow a plan, I'd say most plans have taper built into them, including half marathon plans, because it allows you to still have some structure and kind of let you know what you should be doing. And so you're not flailing.
Yeah, typically I try, when I'm training for a half, I try and do 10 2 weeks before, sometimes 3 weeks before. I usually do maybe 10, 8, 6, and then the half or something like that. But sometimes it's 10, 8, and 8, depending on how I'm feeling. Yeah.
I will say one other observation from training before we move off of that is Diana is super trained.
Oh, yeah. More than I've ever been for anything I've ever done in my life.
Like at the end of this 20 miler, she was doing this thing where she was running at because I kind of just want to walk. And the last mile, let's just walk it out. She's like, well, you got to run because you got to run through the suck. Once it sucks really bad, she likes to push through that kind of pain. So she knows that she can do it probably on race day, right? And I think of the Orange Theory and all of the mornings on the treadmill when you're doing 7 at a pace that's ridiculous and you don't want to do it, but you do it. All of that stuff is paying off. She's a much stronger runner than me.
Yeah.
But
I wish I could lose some weight with it so I'm not as fat as a runner, but I feel like a stronger runner, so I'll take it.
Marathon. Yeah. Dopey trainers. Anybody gaining weight?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
It's hard not to.
It's not even just
It's pretty
dopey.
normal.
I mean, it's pretty normal for a marathon. It's probably the most common thing that if you Google on the internet about marathon training, what will happen? You will gain weight.
Yeah.
You have to fuel. It is what it is.
I actually haven't gained any weight, but I haven't lost any, which is frustrating.
Yeah, stay stable. Yeah.
I've stayed where last time I did gain, and I lost some before I started training, and I didn't gain that back, but I wish I'd lost just a little bit more before I fully jumped in. But no, I'm feeling super strong. I actually said after we did the 18 miles last weekend, I was like, I can do Dopey next weekend if we need to. I feel
at that
I
point.
feel ready. Ready to go and not just totally miserable. Now, yesterday I did not want to be out there. I did not want to do it, which is different than feeling like you can't do it. But
that's different. Yeah, those are two different things.
Yeah,
very different.
I was like,
not wanting to be out there
I don't
versus
want to do it. It's early. It's going to take 5 hours. It was all of that. But I actually
versus
feel
I don't
really
think
good.
I can finish.
Yeah.
Two different feelings.
And that feeling of I don't want to do this anymore definitely hits me. But I even told Tom that running with him helps me because I do feel like I have to kind of stay mentally strong because both of us cannot be having a meltdown.
Can't have a double meltdown.
So even if I feel like garbage, I typically don't say anything. Or if my feet start hurting or whatever, I'm just all right, I'm just gonna do it. Because I feel like he's I've done it before, so I know, but he hasn't, so I want to give him at least his space to whatever. And I feel like I've been less of a this time. Sorry for the editing, but
not me.
There were multiple times during training last time where I would walk out more than half of it, or I wouldn't be feeling good, or
I think it's partly because you have the long weekday miles under your belt this time.
Yep, and
because I know that I went through a training cycle where I was only doing 3 to 4 milers during the weekdays, and then I would be trying to push that 16 to 18 miler on the weekend, but my legs would feel like trash because I wasn't actually I just kept trying to do long run weekends with nothing else in between.
Yeah.
And it was
yep.
So the fact that you have those long runs in the weekdays and that you're doing them this time,
yes,
I feel gives you much different space.
It's a world of difference actually doing these long runs during the week. And I feel like it's kind of like the perfect formula because I do feel like I'm at the point now just because it's so many miles that my legs are tired, but I am not miserable. So we do 4 days of actual running, 1 day of cross training, and then Monday and Fridays are rest days. And I'll typically like walk a couple miles like with the dog or something like that. But I was doing that before. So it's not like I'm adding on anything that I wasn't doing pre-training. But I'm really impressed that I actually feel ready. And it's because I scared myself because I felt so terrible last time I did it. But we would even get to the point last time where I would be running with Nikki and Nicole. I'd have a meltdown and I'd say, I'm done. I'm turning around and walking the rest of the way. They would run out the extra like couple of miles and then turn around and then meet me walking and then walk it out with me. And then I'd feel guilty. And then when I got home, I'd be like, well, maybe I should go for a walk for 2 miles. Like it was awful. Like I just was not in the right headspace. And this time I definitely am. But I do feel that I am, privileged because I do have a job where I work remote. So I'm not getting up at 4 a.m. like I was before and like rushing to get, what I could before having to get into the office by 7:30. Like some days I don't log on until 8:30 because I've started later. So I've actually been sleeping later than I do when I go to Orange Theory for some of these runs. So because I was waking up at 5. That probably helps a lot. So I'm feeling, I don't know. I feel really good. That does
help a lot though.
Yeah, and if I didn't...
That time flexibility probably made a big difference.
It makes so much of a difference, and I have to run in the morning. Like, I can't run in the evening. I won't do it. So, having that flexibility is really, really helpful. But I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's go.
Are you ready, Tom?
I mean, if it was next weekend, I would show up. And I would put in a good effort. And I could probably finish the entire thing, although it would be excruciating.
Yeah, you feel like these next few weeks will help you get there, though.
Yeah. And I'm definitely, I'm bouncing back quicker. So I feel like my main concern is how I'm going to feel after the half.
Yeah.
Because if I kind of have a strategy going into it for the 5 and the 10 and the half. But just being real careful and trying to recuperate as quickly as possible after that half, just so I can be as fresh and as ready to go for the full and just put in a good effort because I don't know. I feel good. I'm not 100% there yet, but I'm on the way.
I said that to Michael yesterday that I feel like you're at the point where you're running 8 to 10 milers, they're not like they're nothing, but you're definitely in a different place than you were 6 months ago, where you were like, if I gotta run, the longest distance I've run in a while is 5 miles. I just got to get out there and do it. But now you're oh, I have a 10 miler today. Ugh. And then, but you're doing it.
Yeah, everybody does that.
And you're recovering from it and still going out there the next weekend and then doing another 10 to 15 miles. It's now you're at a point where it's just sort of not old hat, but you know what I mean? Just sort of, it's part of what you're doing. So it's no longer I don't know. I just think you're in a different place. Yeah. So I do think that if you had to do Dopey this week, you could probably do it because you've got that 20 miler under your belt.
No. And
it's probably a mental hurdle too.
It does. It does suck. We went to Caps Giving like we do. Suck. Every year, the Caps won. We wanted to go out afterwards. We just had a drink, got back to the hotel room at midnight, had to wake up at 5, go do 4 miles before doing our 10K. So we met and did a trail run, down a little path for 4 miles and then went and did a 10K. It's not that's not fun. We didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But we did it.
Yeah.
But you need to do it to get to January.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any, we were, because you spend a lot of time with somebody when you're out on a 20-mile run, and we're just trying to think of, okay, so what can we talk about now that we haven't talked about a million times?
Especially because you live together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's harder. Yeah, yeah.
So,
It's
like,
totally different when you're like running with your partner and you like can talk to each other anytime.
but like, I'm like, okay, so what are our future running plans? Like, what do we want to run? And it's hard to see past Dopey right now. Like, I just
Yeah,
want to
I would-
focus on
yeah.
this.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason to look beyond that right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with all the training you got going on. and
Yeah.
all, you know.
But let me just, I would say for 95% of the listeners of this podcast, you know what we're talking about when we say Dopey and Walt Disney World Marathon weekend. But for maybe the few of you that don't live in that space or know about that space, Walt Disney World Marathon weekend is January 4th through the 8th of 2023. So 37 days. It's the only marathon in the Walt Disney or Run Disney series of events. Everything else is at most a half marathon. And the Dopey Challenge specifically is a 5K, a 10K, a half, and a full on 4 consecutive days. Each have a 5:30 a.m. start time of the race. But in order to get to the race, you're usually up and out of your room between, I'll say, 2 and 3 or 3:30 or so to get on your bus to get to the start corrals. So it's a whole thing, and
Mm-hmm.
thousands and thousands and thousands of people show up, and it's a really fun event. And a ton of people that listen to this podcast and that we know have done it or are doing it for the first time. And so that's what we're talking about. I say that because I talk about this stuff at work, and people who are not in this world, a lot of them have no concept of this. And then you get down to Walt Disney World and you see, I don't know, 25, 30,000 people that are all in on this, which is crazy. But yeah, that's what we're talking about.
I would say that 90% of the people who are listening to this and are Run Disney peeps have been to a Run Disney race.
Yeah.
But for those of you who have not, this is for you.
Yeah.
I see that you have on here things to remember before you go. What should you remember before you go?
When you're packing, keep your stuff in the carry-on so you have running stuff.
Great advice.
Yeah.
So you don't get there and have no running shoes or
If
clothes.
you are planning to costume and you really are like, your heart is set on, if your luggage gets lost, you must have those costumes. Yes, everything for the runs should be in your carry-on so that you
If
do
you can,
not.
yeah.
Yes, depending on how big your costume is, I guess.
Yeah.
So that you have all your run stuff, all your important stuff. I know that liquids can be difficult if you're doing like but all your goos, all of your like liquid IVs, your Tailwind, your Noon, all that stuff, if you can, try and make sure all that stuff is with you in your carry-on so that if anything happens to go wrong with your luggage, you have it all.
Incidentally, if you do forget something like that, they
Mhm.
sell most of that is sold at the expo.
Agreed.
So like,
Yeah.
don't freak out if you leave your house and you didn't pack all your blocks, because most likely you'll be able to get that at the expo.
Or get something
Or
close
get some-
to it
yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No reason to panic. You could, stock up there if you have to. But
And there's plenty of places to Instacart onto Walt
Yeah.
Disney's property now, or all of those different type of
things.
things. I forget the other one that I was using. So worst case, if you're going into the Disney bubble and you think that you're not going to be able to get stuff, Target and like those kinds of places all now are part of those kinds of shipping things where you can get it shipped directly to your resort.
Yep.
The other thing that I would say for Dopey is have at least 2 pairs of running shoes that you have in your, rotation so that you can bring both of them down with you just in case something happens. I like to change my shoes for the different races. So like I'll alternate. I'll do like one for the 5 and the half and then one for the 10 and the full or something like that. But like even if it rains, you just want to make sure that you have at least one extra pair of shoes so that it's not
That is true.
soaked and miserable.
Agreed.
Yeah, because if you have nowhere to dry them, I mean, you're going to need dry shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bad at asking for pre-trip advice because I pack like 10 minutes before we're leaving for the airport.
That is a problem.
Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
I'm assuming you guys are already packed for your for your Disney trip coming up this week.
I would say
we throw stuff.
Make a
and,
list. Just try to stay organized.
Mhm.
No, I agree. For anxiety purposes, especially if this is one of your first race weekends, I would make a list. I used to be way more organized than I am now with the running stuff. Make a list of all of your outfits that you're planning to wear, everything from head to toe that you're going to need, your throwaway stuff. If you're going to bring Mylar blankets for the mornings, if you're going to bring hot hands just in case it's cold, all of the things you can think of that you may want for the weekend. You just try and make a list and keep yourself organized, and then you have something to build off of. I do agree with that, even though I don't follow my own advice and do that. It is great advice for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I would say bring ponchos, like cheap throwaway ponchos with you for the morning. Even if it's not raining, if it's chilly,
They keep you warm because there's no wind getting through a lot of those plastic ponchos.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be standing out there a while.
Yep, I think that's great advice. I always bring a Mylar. Always make sure I have ponchos. The other thing I like to do is, I don't know, I found like Goodwill and stuff do not have actual good deals anymore. You can't get super cheap stuff there. So what I like to do is I go to Walmart and I go to the men's section, like the champion section, and I get like giant men's sweatshirts and sweatpants that I can like fit over my shoes. So if you guys see me pre-race, probably at any of the races in January, I'll be like looking like the Pillsbury Doughboy in a like giant men's matching sweatsuit.
And because you're so prepared this time, it's going to be warm enough that you won't need them.
Yep.
That's what I'm hoping. But yeah, I actually the one time cut the bottom, like there's the elastic that's on the bottom of sweatpants. I actually just cut them completely off so that I could get them over my shoes.
Oh, gotcha.
Good idea.
Well, I know they're donated, so I don't want to ruin them before they get donated to somebody.
That's true.
Well, I would also say one of the best parts about these events are all the costumes, but make sure whatever costume that you're going to be wearing is durable and that you want to be wearing it for the entire duration of whatever race. Especially like the longer ones, because it'll be freezing in the morning, but when that sun comes up, there is no shade on those highways. And I remember when you all did Dopey, we did the half, and we were dressed as the Saturday morning cartoons, and our friend Chris was Launchpad McQuack, and he had a bomber jacket, so he ran a half marathon in a bomber jacket.
That's hot.
And it got to be steamy.
I'm hot thinking about that.
I think he also had a scarf on. I forget, but like it was hot.
Look, you got to be committed to the bit.
You do.
I feel like I'm committed for a 5K and a 10K. For a half or a full, I am not committed to the bit.
Remain in character.
When we did, what was it? The springtime surprise this year, we had friends who were all in those cardboard things that kept breaking. I had to give like 2 of my safety pins to people because they had like cardboard cutouts that were like around them, and the thing that they used to hold the cardboard up, like the almost like suspenders, kept breaking, so the cardboard kept falling down, and it was a whole breakdown of like the whole costume. So yes, durability is probably important for that. Good advice if you're starting to put your finishing touches on your costumes.
All right, so what's next on our list?
Getting there and getting to the expo.
Well, so they still haven't announced this as of this recording, which is a little sad. And maybe Michael and I can stick an insert in here or not. We'll see. Virtual queue for Wine and Dine occurred. They have not announced officially that there's a virtual queue for the marathon as of this recording. We're assuming there will be, because I'm told that it
And that is only
worked
for
if you're doing the merch.
the extra merchandise to purchase. That you do not need to do it to get your stuff. If you are not buying extra merch, you do not need to worry about it. I feel like people talk about it so much, you might think it's something you have to do. It's not. It's only for the extra merch.
And that is officially licensed Run Disney merch for the event.
Yeah, it's not to like
Yes.
get into the
Yeah,
expo
that's not the
where-
expo.
Yeah.
Agreed. So you should decide ahead of time whether merch, how important the merch is to you, I guess. It's different this year because had it been, if you told us last year, you know, I am all in on the merch, we would have told you to get up at like 3:00 in the morning and stand in line starting at 5. But now with the virtual queue, you get on at 7 a.m. Be ready with your phones and your app and whoever's in your party, and it's just like the virtual queues for the rides.
Yeah.
If you haven't been to the parks since there's been a virtual queue, you hop onto your My Disney experience to click on the join virtual queue. And at 7 a.m. it opens and you'll be able to get a place in line. You'll get a number. It'll give you an approximate time that you'll be coming back to the expo. And then you have to sort of play your day based off of that if the merch is that important to you. If you get a queue spot that's going to be super inconvenient to you, it's at that point, I guess, a decision to make what's more important, the Disney merch or going to your parks. Or
I'm actually excited. I try not to plan too much on Expo Day because it always just, I don't know, like stuff always seems to happen. Every time we go, we're in line for a couple hours, like trying to get merchandise. So if I do like dining reservations, I try and do them like later in the day. I don't usually try and do a park. So I'm probably in the minority where I'm actually excited that there's a virtual queue because I had no interest in getting up and getting in line at 6 a.m. to get an ornament. Like, I don't want to do that. I would rather get the queue, say, okay, I'm going to go. I might have to wait an hour when I get there, but that's fine because I know I'm going. But I know it can be a pain in the butt for like people who have park days and stuff planned, but I don't plan that for.
I think the bigger concern for people is that, like, if you didn't get an early spot in the queue for Wine and Dine, the ornaments were gone by noon.
Yeah.
So if you didn't get an early spot in your virtual queue and you didn't get there until 1:00, then you didn't get the opportunity. Whereas there's people who would have stood in line at 5 a.m. to make sure that they got that ornament, and now they feel like they got screwed out of getting that ornament because they weren't even given that opportunity.
That's luck of the draw because you could have gotten in line. Yeah, if you could have gotten in line at 5 and still not been guaranteed to get the one piece of merchandise you want. It's like hit or miss. Like, you can't ever guarantee that you're gonna get something.
There's no secret sauce. It's a cluster anyways, just with all the personal shoppers and all the stuff that happens. Like,
I mean, honestly, if Disney cared, they would get rid of that.
If they wanted to lock it down, they could. They absolutely could.
Yeah.
You'd have to have a bib to get into the expo to get merch.
Yeah.
If that was the one thing that they could do, they could shut it all down.
That would be a positive, yeah.
And the thing about it is, it's not like they wouldn't sell the merch. Like, they're allowing people to go on and sell it for obscene amounts of money. Like, this is their fault. Like, the merch would still go without those people.
They would only really have to do that Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even have to do it for the whole weekend.
If they were to also spread out the merch so that it wasn't all up front and like have some so that it's available on Thursday, and then have some more stuff available on Friday, but they don't do that.
Yeah, they don't care.
I mean, they don't care.
But yeah.
Either way, though, we're assuming it's going virtual queue. Again, if you don't care about the merchandise at all,
doesn't matter,
none of that matters. Just go to the expo. Get your bib, get your race shirts.
Have your thing signed, your waiver.
Oh, pre-advanced, have your waiver signed.
Waiver signed online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll get 1,000 emails about it.
If Run Disney's website
If their website works, which last year I could not sign my waiver online last year. It wouldn't let me.
God.
So I just had, you can print it out there and sign it
Yes.
as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So don't worry. Like if you don't get it done before you go, don't worry. There will literally be pens on a table. You can sign one. And
Yeah.
Nice.
I also found like it's weird on different browsers because I had some weird issue with Springtime Surprise with my waiver. And I called and I was like, it's not letting me sign my waiver. And then I had to like open it in like an incognito browser on something. And then it
Oh,
worked.
God.
Like it's a nightmare.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
weird. I don't know.
yeah,
Run Disney
so,
or Disney's IT.
yeah.
The
And
best
so
in the
if you're doing,
biz.
if you're doing Dopey, obviously you got to get there Wednesday.
Yeah.
If you're doing Goofy, you got to get there by Thursday, right?
No, Friday.
Friday, because that's 2 days. If you're like just doing the marathon, go Saturday afternoon. Nobody will be there.
Yeah.
Even if you go on Friday, honestly,
It'll be a lot quieter.
it's a lot quieter. I've gone Friday many times because anytime I've done Goofy, I fly in Thursday night and then go on Friday, and there's literally nobody there
Yeah.
when I go. And even the expo itself, which is again different from the Disney merch, the licensed merch, where they have all the vendors and like Sparkle Athletics is there and Raw Threads is there and the sports skirts and
All that
Boulder
stuff,
Athletic and all those
Yeah.
kinds of places. You can buy your UFOs, you can buy fuel.
Jeff Gallagher is usually there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a booth. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the booths are great. If you've never been to a big race expo, I do highly recommend this one.
great.
It is one of the better of all the ones. I mean, it's, on par with like New York City Marathon kind of expo feel, where it's like the huge expo floor and there's just tons of vendors and tons of people to talk to. And like Tom said, there's usually like not celebrity. Well, I guess celebrity runners.
Yeah. I mean, in that world. Yeah. Yeah. In that world.
Kind of hanging around in different booths and stuff like that. Sometimes other race series will be there, and you can check out medals and sign up and get discounts and that kind of thing. So
And you can get
if
beer.
you've never been,
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
beer.
beer.
Yeah.
And
And if you don't care about any of that, like me, you can go into the one building, pick up your bib at the field house, go through, get your shirt, and then leave.
Yep.
That's
and
what I
then
do.
go get a cider and wait for me, who cares and wants to see everyone in their booths and say hi to people.
Yeah.
Some people like the stuff, some people don't. So there are options.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are definitely planning on spending some time at that expo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always feel like we're rushed at the expo because we planned too much that day. So this time we tried not to,
Yeah.
just on purpose. Because last time we did the expo, here's what you don't want to do when you're doing Dopey, which is what we did last time, was go to the expo and then stand in line for 4 hours to get stupid ass merchandise, and then immediately go and do a bar crawl where you get maybe one of the drunkest you've ever been the night before the 5K,
Yep.
and then run the 5K of Dopey drunk after you spent like, I don't know, $600 at the stupid expo. And then you're like, I'm just going to put drinks on top of that to forget about what I just did. And then, yeah, that's not the way to do it. It's not the way to do it.
Nope.
Ease into the week.
Yeah. So that's, I guess, like another thing other than the expo is, and it's kind of hard because it is, it bumps up against New Year's Eve. So when we did this in 2017, and you guys are doing it this time, we went down like the 30th. We actually left the 29th and drove down for 2 days and got there so that we were in Epcot on New Year's Eve and did some park time at the beginning. And I don't know, as much as my good intentions always are, once I'm down there and I'm feeling like the energy of people, it's hard for me to not, I guess I should say. So for me, this time we actually did it smart and planned park time after the races. I know that's not an option for everyone, but that's what we're doing this time. And I actually think this is the first race where we've actually been able to do that. Usually I'm leaving like Monday, maybe Tuesday after a Run Disney race. So I have to try and get all my park stuff in while I'm down there. This time we're doing it after. So that I'm not a giant whiny baby and crying in the crowd.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
So if you can, but I get it, because that was my one thing. I was like, I want to be there for New Year's Eve. I want to do Epcot one time because I know it's going to be a nightmare and I just want to experience it once.
That's why we're going to
Yep.
Epcot for New Year's Eve, to experience it once, because
Yep.
I will never do it again.
Yep. And if you go in and you just realize that it's going to be a nightmare, it's actually not that bad. So just set your expectations. We had
I assume it's going to be a nightmare.
Which we assumed it was going to. I mean, I've been told by so many people it's a nightmare. I'm waiting for the nightmare.
It took us over an hour to get from, Mexico over to America, just walking through the crowds. It was like almost like an hour and a half.
There's a couple
2
choke
hours.
points.
China is lit, I will say that.
Oh, yeah.
Just go party in China on New Year's Eve, but
All right, so race morning. Anyone have some advice for race mornings?
Oh.
don't forget your bib.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Don't
There you
be
go.
Diana.
Oh, my God. Lay
don't
all
worry,
your
if you
stuff
do-
out the night before.
If you do forget your bib, Runners Relations
panic.
is there.
Yeah, they
and
can help.
You can be helped.
There's
You
no
may-
guarantee, but they can help.
You may lose your corral that you may have worked for, because that's what happened in Diana's instance. And I
Yep.
do know a couple other people who have forgotten their bibs in the history of my doing Run Disney. I have never seen anyone not be able to get a bib. I wasn't sure about the corral situation, but Diana's example, yes, she lost her corral.
Oh, yeah, and they were real dicks about it.
They do not care about the individual.
Yes.
They care about
They're just
making sure
trying
the
to get
whole
it
thing
done.
goes off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So don't forget your bib. If you forget it, it's going to be okay. But as Tom said, hopefully the best way to avoid that is to make sure you've laid out your stuff for
Pin
the
it
morning.
on your stuff the
You
night
could
before.
Pin it on your stuff the night before, if depending on the way your costume is. Some people cannot do that.
To be fair, the bib is what, 3 feet by 3 feet?
Oh my God, here we go.
So
we're not
that
raging.
is the problem.
This isn't what we're doing. We're not raging about the size of Run Disney bibs right now. We're giving
You
advice.
could use it to stay warm.
Is it a Mylar blanket
Got
or
it.
is it your
They
bib?
might as-
I don't know.
The other thing I'm doing, if you're running multiple races or like a series of races, whether it's like Goofy or Dopey or whatever, you basically get a bib. So I'm buying those bib protectors off of Amazon,
nice.
and I'm going to bring some of those because like after Springtime Surprise or even Dopey last time, it like basically crumbles because
Crumbles,
it's covered
like
in
wrinkles, and it's like,
sweat and it's just been jostled.
Yeah.
And
Dopey, you get 2 bibs, right? One for the 5K and 10K,
Yeah.
and one for the half and the full.
I think so.
I think that's the way that
Yep.
works.
Yep.
So
Keep track of your bibs.
yeah, that advice there is great too. Make
Wear
sure
the right one.
Make sure you take. Oh yes, make sure you have the right bib if you're given the 2 bibs, and then because Michael's done that at a different race
Shamrock.
before, where he
I did
grabbed
that
the
at
wrong
Shamrock,
bib
yeah.
for the challenge. But yes, if you are finished with the race and you take your bib off, make sure you don't like lose track of it, because it is one bib for both days,
Mhm.
depending on which races you're doing.
Yeah.
And Tom and I don't care what everyone else does. Tom and I are first bus people.
Yes.
And I know
I am-
people don't like that, but Tom and I are first bus people.
I would say that I know more and more people who are first bus people.
Yeah.
Especially since Disney transportation
Has been
been
sketch, yeah.
unreliable. So here's the best advice for you guys, because there has been a lot over the last since Run Disney
Like
came
2
back
years, yeah.
in 2021. It's been rough.
All right. So
with those Disney buses.
okay. So when do they start?
It depends on the race, depends on the day. You have to check all of your race paraphernalia.
Yes, the event guide has technically not come out yet as of this recording. So again, we're doing this a little bit early, but check the event guide. Make sure you have the correct days, because if you're at a monorail resort, the other thing to remember is that the monorail does not run for the 5K or the 10K. It only runs for the half and the full. And at Wine and Dine, it didn't run for the half. And I'm not sure why, but I was told that by one of our listeners. So
Yeah.
make sure you check the event guide. for the monorail to make sure it's actually running and the times that it's running, and then also check what time the buses start at your resort.
Yep. And it'll be somewhere in between 2:30 and 3 in the morning for the first bus.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a hellscape.
Yeah.
And we'll set up a couple meetups for the morning. Check out our Will Run for Group page. We'll let you know where we are. Most likely we'll be back by the behind the bleachers.
I will be in line for characters pre-race, so you will not see me before any races.
Oh, that's right. There's pre-race characters.
Yeah, there are pre-race characters.
And I didn't get any at Springtime Surprise, so I want to get some here.
Michael will be behind the bleachers because he doesn't care about characters. I'm not sure that I'll get any characters myself, but
I like the pre-race characters because I look fresh.
It's true.
Fair. That's fair.
And a lot of times we'll have like the theme characters for that particular race, like before the race. So like that's a good point. Like if you're dressed as Dopey before the full marathon, you'll probably see him before the race, like with huge long lines. So that's also why we like to get on the first bus as well, because then you can get like there's usually 3 to 4. And if you get on the first bus, you can usually get like 2 of them.
If you are wanting to get up further into your corral because you're concerned about time and the balloon ladies, walk to the corrals early.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, if you aren't worried about characters and you're more worried about time, then don't stop and meet up with people. If you don't want to, just walk straight to the corrals. The last couple races, they changed where the corrals where the races are taking off from, and they're like really much closer to the actual race site.
Yeah, they're not as far down that road. Right?
I don't know what they are going to be doing for this particular race this time. I don't know whether they're going to be a lot further because we haven't seen the courses come out yet. If it's where it's always been, it is a good almost mile walk.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind, depending on how the courses come out, and we'll update again, Instagram and the group page once they come out. But yeah, if you're worried about time, just head straight to the corral and get to the front of your corral.
Yeah. Aaron, I'm so glad you mentioned that because that's such a good point. I know, and I'm victim of this, so I'm trying not to do it this time, is it's your race and it's your race day and it should be whatever you want it to be. So don't feel pressure that you have to go see people before you run or go do this or meet people all over the world. Like run your race and then meet people when it works for you and your day. Mm-hmm. So I love that you said that, Aaron. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to do your own race and do what you need to do for you.
Yeah, and the balloon lady culture is strong. And this year we did actually see people get swept at Wine and Dine further into the race than they've ever been swept before. So you know what? If that's got you concerned, head straight to those corrals, man. Just get all the way to the front of your corral if you can.
Yep, absolutely. Because they were, and there's always been like rumors of like if you get to this point you can't be swept.
Agreed.
And that was never true because when you talk to people at Run Disney or talk to the balloon ladies, they're like, no, they'll sweep you on a golf cart like in the park if they have to.
Yeah.
But this
is
rarer. It's rarer, but this time they were really doing it with Wine and Dine.
Yeah, I wonder if
I think it was hot. I think there was. I'm not sure. There was.
Yeah. No, I wonder if like the corporate culture trickled down through
to get people off the course so that they're not in the parks bothering the park people.
I mean, it was
who knows.
Certainly, at that point, it was a less friendly corporate structure. Not to say that the current one is like super friendly, but I mean, antagonistic towards guests versus.
We'll see. We'll hope. We've got some hope now, right, everyone? Since
so I wonder if that had an effect, but that's just I don't know. The things roll downhill. So
I don't know. Yeah. I hope people keep this energy when Iger breaks up Disney and sells it to Apple. So
I mean, I'm just talking about how people are treated like within the parks.
People.
Yeah.
I'll just say this: the amount of misinformation that you hear in the corrals or on
Yes.
Yeah.
or during
Don't
the
listen to
race,
anything in the crowd.
just keep
No.
moving forward and maintain a pace. Like the balloon
That's it.
ladies leave the last corral and they maintain a 16-minute
16-minute.
pace of a walk.
And they're amazing at maintaining that
Which is
16-minute
crazy,
pace. Let me tell you,
but, like,
they are spot on.
Oh yeah.
If you fall behind them, there is an incredible
It's okay.
chance you could get swept. But that's just what it is. Like, keep
But still,
keep
even
moving
if you
forward.
do, just
Yeah.
keep moving because they are not official
Can we-
sweepers.
So one of the best things about these races, though, is the amount of pictures that you can take and all of the characters that are on course. So you're going to want to have a strategy around the character stops if they're important to you.
Yeah.
And I guess part of that strategy has to do if you're doing Dopey, if you're not doing Dopey, and how much you want to save your legs for the marathon. So a lot of people's strategies is often to do like all the characters and all the fun stuff your first days because you're more concerned about time for the marathon. So you'll walk the 5K and walk the 10K and get your character stops and see everything. And then half marathon's a toss-up. You might want to see some characters, but not all of them. But marathon, you're more concerned about actually just running the race so that you can get through to the finish. So it sort of just depends on your strategy too for how you're going to run the races.
Yep. And I recognize a lot of people that listen to this podcast are in much better shape than I am and run a lot more longer distances than I typically do or doing marathons as we speak. For me, I got overly confident. This is just Diana's mistakes and I'm trying to save everyone. Is what this is turning into. So when I did Dopey in 2018, I felt great and I had so much energy the first couple of days that I definitely did not do what I should have. And I broke my strategy for the 5K, 10K and half almost immediately, which is why I felt like trash for the full. So if you have a plan, stick to your plan. Yeah. Don't let the excitement pull you into the dark side.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Because I was running and I was doing not the plan.
I would say especially on the half, if you feel good still, don't take advantage of, obviously know your own fitness, but if you know the marathon's going to be a struggle, do not overdo that half or you're going to pay a hard price.
I'm with you, Michael. It's almost better. If you're going to I feel good, I should maybe try something 5 or 10K, maybe play around with that. Do not play around with that half if you're doing Dopey.
Yeah, you're only going to pay so much of a price for the 5 or 10K. The half, you're going to pay a big price because it's the day before.
Yeah. Yep.
I feel like that's something you got to think about. And stick with your plan for the half, especially.
Less recovery time.
I agree with everyone. If whatever your strategy is, and maybe you don't have a strategy. Maybe you're going to play it by feel, and that's fine too.
Yeah.
Just keep it in mind of what you're going to do with those character steps. Those character steps can be long and they can take a while. So you're standing there for some of those character stops. So it is much more time on feet than some people realize when you're just standing there for that long. So if your strategy is to get off your feet and not do all of that, then that's fine too. It just sort of, you got to weigh how important characters are to you.
The couple of times I've almost been swept.
Characters.
Yep. The couple of times I've almost been swept was because I was in character lines. Princess, I wanted all the princes. And Avengers, I wanted Thor.
We have done races with a lot of friends, and we have friends who have been faster. I know that at last year's half marathon, a few of us would run up and then stand in line, and then everyone who was kind of behind. So depending on what your group is and who you know, you could also do things like that where someone who's faster in your group can run up, stand in the character line.
But for one picture.
Yes.
Do not split off and do multiple.
Yep, exactly. And then as your group comes up, everyone just gets into that picture as one picture. And I can't tell you the number of times everyone screams, "We're just one picture. We're just one picture," just so that everyone in the line knows. Courtesy, guys. So you could do things like that.
Also, can I just say a Run Disney pet peeve? this is not your time to interact with the characters and have a magical
it's a
moment.
picture and go.
It's a picture and go. Like if you want your special moment with a character, do it while you're in the park. Like this is not. I'm not waiting for you to have a conversation with Elena of Avalor. Like take the photo and move.
This is efficiency.
The biggest thing with Run Disney when you're going through this, it's a whole long event, and people are out there for a long time, and they're having their own experiences. Just be considerate of other people's experience as well.
Yeah,
like you're saying, like if you join up with a line, it's not, if you have 5 people, it's not 5 individual pictures. You don't need your own picture. Like, just be considerate.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Yeah, that's it. Simple.
And make quick decisions. If you see a long line and you're like, I'm going to be stressed out this entire time, move on.
Just go.
Move on.
Yeah.
Go, and then, you know what? Or take a picture of the character as you're going by.
There you go. That was my next suggestion was if you see a character that you love, you can take a quick selfie with the character. Like,
I don't like that.
Why?
Don't stop on the course and take a selfie.
If you move over to the side on the grass.
All right, that's fine.
Like where the character is, you just pull over a little bit to the side.
But that's
same thing that everyone does with
the castle.
The 1 mile. No, with the 1 mile, 2 mile, the 3 mile, they pull over to the side of the grass and take the pictures of themselves in front of each mile marker with the character that's on the mile marker.
That being said, be considerate of other people. You're not the only one in the race, because if you've ever cheered on Main Street, when people come down Main Street and they see that castle, you have people stopping, dead stop in the middle of a race to take a picture of that castle.
The castle is one of the most dangerous places on that course because of that reason. I'm talking about when you see the character and where the character, you know how the characters are set back off the road a little bit?
Yeah.
People will go towards the character up on the grass where the character is.
Yeah, because
that's fine.
Yeah.
Because, you cheered Main Street and kept, like, watching people, like, crash into each other and stuff, didn't you? Because he was out there. He was out there for, like, a couple hours.
Well, it gets really tight in there. So, yeah.
Another thing about Run Disney, like, it's not the Boston Marathon. It's not just an all-out road race where people are constantly moving. Like, people are stopping and starting all the time. And they're walking, like, 3 or 4 or 5 apart, like wide. Like,
don't do that.
Just
please.
Again,
don't do that.
You're not the only one there, and there will be plenty of people in that race who think it's just for them. I'm just saying, it's kind of funny to see, like, Run Disney runners and, like, super competitive runners mixed together.
Oh yeah,
because man,
I love it.
There is
I love it. I
drama.
love
There's so much drama.
Like
that can be a mix.
Elite runners like have meltdowns over like Run Disney people.
Okay, so what's the consensus here? Do you walk on the sides? Do you walk in the middle?
So I don't know
sides,
if
I think best,
I know it's traditionally like walkers on the right, but I feel like in some type of Disney whatever runner's guide or whatever, it's like runners down the middle and then kind of walkers on either side.
That makes the most sense.
Depending on where it is,
because a lot of the race is on roads, so it's so wide that you it. Generally, you're in there's only a few areas that are really tight.
But if it's tight, I would say if you're doing any type of intervals, it's
get over to the right.
Get over to the right. But if there's like tons of space,
like stay single file. I can tell you as someone who is struggling through their first marathon, I got stuck in the middle of a Galloway pace group and they were so incredibly rude. And this is not about, Galloway or pacing or anything, but there was like 20 people in that group all stopping and going at the same time, blocking the entire path inside a Wide World of Sports.
Yeah.
Which was very tight when you used to go through there at that time. And I was like really struggling through my first marathon. And that almost like killed the entire race for me.
Yeah.
Because they did not move over at all. They would just stop and block the entire path. And I was trying to just go a slow, steady pace and survive.
And you couldn't get around them.
And it was like for 45 minutes going through Wide World of Sports, back and forth, because there was just no space. So whether you're in a small group or a bigger group like that, just be cognizant. Like just because somebody else is, running steadily versus run walking versus, just be cognizant of the other people around you and what they are doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in the tight areas. The roads honestly, I mean, if you put your hand up in the middle of the road's 40 feet wide. I mean, you can go around somebody. It's not a big deal. That's super easy to go around
where
somebody.
it's like really tight.
Yeah.
The last
Yeah,
thing
but I mean, even with that, just like look around you before you come to
take a
full
second
and complete stop. I mean, even yesterday, because I'm doing intervals now. So yesterday when I was doing the turkey trot, that was one thing that I like had to keep putting my hand up, and I like did a quick 360 around me to make sure no one was like right in my my direct path, but put up my hand and then stopped.
Yeah. And if you're wearing headphones, make sure you can still hear.
Yes.
And
sorry, Tom.
I am a music runner. I run with headphones. I would not advise it for this.
No, because you want to be able to hear the people around you. You need to be
atmosphere is
and
like,
just take in everything.
Yeah, everything about it. There's a ton of on-course distractions and entertainment.
Yeah.
And I guess the last thing I'll say about navigating character stops is take pictures. You're going to want these memories. Like you don't have to go overboard or be crazy about it, but like it's truly a unique experience being able to run through these parks.
Yeah. Well, and what I said to Tom yesterday while we were running, when he was having one of his several tantrums that he was having, and I think this goes for every race, I was like, this is the sucky part. Like, this is like, you don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, you do this now so your race sucks less, and that's your celebration. Like, your race is your celebration. And whether that celebration is like, hey, I'm going to try and get a PR, or it's just, I'm just not going to feel like garbage and enjoy this race, whatever that goal is, I think both are valid. That's your celebration. So enjoy it. Like, there's nothing worse than finishing it like something and wanting to have, I wish I would have taken more pictures. I wish I would have enjoyed that a little more.
100%. This is your victory lap. This is like, that's a really great way of putting that, Diana. Like, this is it. Like, it's the training part is terrible. Like, it sucks and it's hard, but like celebrate, take it all in, especially if it's your first, because you don't get a second first. Like this is your first. Allow yourself to enjoy every moment. I know that's sometimes easier said than done when you have anxiety and you're in your head and things that might not be going exactly the way you plan or anticipate, but like, just, that's the one thing. Keep telling yourself, this is it. This is my first, and allow yourself to enjoy it. Any post-race advice?
Post-race advice. Yeah, eat
and rest.
Yeah.
Obviously know yourself. If you're someone who, can do this easily, obviously do it.
Yeah.
Do what you want. But like, for most of us, it's like you want to make sure you rest.
Yeah, and have a good balance, right? Because you don't want to just get back to your hotel room and not move until the next race because you'll be just stiff. So do get a little bit of time on your feet, but don't overdo it. Be conservative if you need to. I know a couple friends of ours just bought extra days worth of tickets so that they could just go into the park every day. What they're going to do is grab their meal, maybe do one attraction or something like that, and then leave immediately. Tom and I decided we're not doing any parks after the races. We said we might do mini golf one day or go to the pool or, whatever. We've got kind of different things that we're going to do, but we're not going to go into the parks. We're just going to at least keep it easy with my sexual compression knee-high socks and my slide UFOs that are on the way. So catch me outside.
We still haven't even made our park reservations. That just reminded me when you just said that. I mean, like you said, just keep it easy. I mean, Michael said, like, if you know yourself, if you're like an ultra runner and you run like these kind of miles all time and this is nothing for you, then do you, But if this is your first time and you don't know what it's going to be like, err on the side of caution
Yeah, that's
and
all.
just rest, but also don't rest to the point where you get stiff. Like,
Yep.
keep yourself kind of moving, go out to dinner, even if it's an early dinner.
Walk around the resort a bit or something like that. Yeah.
If you don't have park passes, you could just, take a bus to the TTC and walk around one of the resorts. They've got the gingerbread house still out, just things like that, little things to keep yourself moving, but not overly exhausted where you're walking in a park all day.
No.
And then, I mean, it's a little late to make any dinner reservations because of the way Disney makes everything so difficult, but make sure you're getting fueled properly and getting a decent meal in. Get that meal in pretty early so that you can get back to your hotel and your resort and just rest, so that these 2 a.m. wake ups.
Yeah. Also, so that you're not huddled on the ground in your corral before the marathon crying because your feet hurt, hiding under a Mylar.
I mean, no one here has ever done anything like that.
Has that happened?
So
honestly, just the worst place I've ever been in my life. Literally, I was like in a hobbit hole under my Mylar.
Rest
crying.
is important. Sleep may be difficult. And I know I've said this before. I've heard it from several coaches. Just because you're not sleeping does not mean that you shouldn't rest. Like, you may not be able to get good sleep, but even if you can, just lay in the bed, stay off your devices, rest your eyes, even if you're not completely sleeping because you're having a hard time or you have anxiety about the next day or you're paranoid about waking up in time. All those things may happen. Just be in your bed, rest.
I tell you, I took melatonin at 4 p.m. every night of Springtime Surprise. I slept like a damn baby and then got up and was fabulous.
So take melatonin, according to Diana.
And then go to bed at 6:30 is, I think. We were like in bed, I think at 6:30, winding down at 7. It's early. It was early nights.
But it's worth it. I mean, we have some 5 o'clock dinner reservations. Our plan is always to be in bed or back at our resort by 7, though. We kind of skipped over because I see actually they just keep moving, which we sort of gave advice about them. But medal pictures, if you're doing Dopey, I would suggest waiting until after you are done with all of the races and get them done either Sunday evening. Or if you're going to be staying for an extra day, Monday morning before you head out.
Yep.
In the parks.
Yep.
And
because
you mean just being in the parks, taking selfies with your medals in front of like Spaceship Earth and the castle and all that good stuff. Right?
Yeah,
all kinds of stuff. Whether you're doing the because again, if you're taking a lot of time, this just comes back to like how much time do you want to take on your feet and running around the parks to try and get your medal pictures. That's something that you can do after the races when you've recovered a little bit more versus everyone. If you're trying to get your each day's medal, it can wear you down. Cause I've done that before too, where I've tried to be like, oh, I'm going to get this picture here. I want to go to this park because I want to get my pictures there. And like, it's a lot.
No. And then you're miserable.
And even the PhotoPass pictures, like a lot of people do obviously the castle picture with all of your Dopey medals splayed out. And even if you want individual pictures, I personally would say waiting until the end of the race series is over is my advice. You don't have to listen to it.
I'd agree with you. I'd also say don't get so drunk during the marathon that your husband makes you take a nap after the marathon and then wake up and have to scramble to get pictures in the dark at the castle. That was not the best experience for me. He was like, you have to take a nap.
Yeah. If you're staying for a day or two after, wait until then. It'll be a little easier.
It'll be less crowded. There'll be less people. Although the day of the marathon, last time when we did it, there are specific like PhotoPass people who request that day. because that's like one of their favorite things to do is to do metal pictures in front of Castle.
Fun.
So there are like a lot of the PhotoPass people you'll find on Sunday night like have requested to be there. So you'll get some like really cool shots because like that's like their jam.
Love that.
Just a little friendly advice from a couple different PhotoPass people that I have experienced in the last few race series.
I love that. So just to let you guys know, I think we announced it on the last show. We are doing a meetup on Friday at Disney Springs.
Which I plan to post this week into the group, the graphic that I made one last time, where it has the arrow pointing at the exact spot that we're going to be in Disney Springs at 1 p.m. So if you're listening to this and you didn't see it, go back into either the Facebook group or our Instagram posts so that you can find that.
Yeah, and don't feel like you have to get there and hang out all day or anything like that. You can just pop by, say hi, whatever you guys want to do. I know Tom and I have like a dining reservation at Enzo's Hideaway at 3:15 or something like that. So as we've mentioned, Tom has an expiration date that entire weekend. So we figured if we did kind of a firm dining reservation, we wouldn't get what Tom likes to do is get a couple drinks in him, and then he's like ready to go all night, and we cannot have that happen. So
I cannot. I'm gonna need Diana to be my handler for the weekend.
Yeah, and if you can't make it, I know that there's people who are flying in on Friday because
totally fine.
They're only doing the marathon. They're doing the marathon, or they're just doing the half, or whatever races you're doing, and so they're flying in on Friday. Obviously, we can't accommodate everyone. We apologize for that. We will announce meetups in the mornings, and where we'll be for if you guys want to hang out with us then.
Yeah, maybe Wednesday we can hang out at the thing a little bit.
Yeah, we'll be at the expo. We'll
have some
post
beers.
what time we get there.
Yeah, we'll definitely be at the expo for a while.
We should have tattoos still, right?
Yeah, we have some tattoos.
We can give you some tattoos and stickers and buffs if you don't have one.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh, and cups. We could bring cups.
We have like 10 cups left.
Oh, we're not bringing cups. Sorry, we like those cups.
We don't like them that. I mean, we can give away the 10
We'll give
cups,
away
I'm
a
just
couple
saying.
cups, maybe. You can use them in the parks.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Selfish.
But we will. Michael and I have a 5 p.m. Dinner reservation in Springs, so we'll be around in Springs for most of that day. So text us, let us know, message us, DM us, slide into our DMs,
slide into those DMs.
And hopefully we can catch up with you.
Yeah, and then we are doing like a celebration dinner. Tom and myself and a few of our friends are doing a celebration dinner at California Grill Sunday night after the marathon. I don't know what time it is. Dinner time-ish, like 6 or 7 or something like that. I have no idea. But we are planning on doing some type of mini crawl maybe before dinner. So message us on Sunday after the marathon, because at some point we're going to go over and be somewhere on the monorail loop, probably having like a pre-dinner drink. So if you want to cheers us.
You can hang out with Tom and Diana in the afternoon. And then when they go to dinner, we'll be done with dinner, and then you can hang out with us and join us for the second portion of a monorail crawl.
Because we'll also be on the monorail.
We'll be on the monorail because we have dinner reservations at Artist Point with Dopey, with some of our friends. I think that's at like 4, so our dinner will be like 4 to 5 or 4 to 6-ish. So we'll be just opposite times as Tom and Diana.
Yep. So we'll be around. Just message. I don't have firm plans. So
yeah,
whenever we're gonna nap after the full, I'm sure, and hot tub it and all that fun stuff, and then head on out. And so that'll be our celebration. We're probably gonna be watching the fireworks either from California Grill, or maybe like we'll head over to Top of the World if that's open. I don't know if it's back open or not.
It is, because it's got the villain.
They have a lot of private events or a lot of ticketed events for the fireworks now, though.
Yeah, and
gotcha.
It's
although the view from California Grill is great.
I was like, so we'll be watching from California Grill then.
Yeah. It is a great view from there.
Actually, I'll be disappointed if we can't do Top of the World, I guess, because we used to do Top of the World regularly until they closed it. But we'll see.
We'll have to see. Yeah.
But that's only if you're a DVC. Sorry. So we'll see.
All
I
right.
guess that's it for our preview, right? We've got nothing.
Yeah. Trust your
If
training.
anybody has any
That's it.
questions, we do have the group page now. Just feel free to post your questions on the group and, let the people answer.
While we're talking about the group, apologies to anybody who sends me a friend request. I actually only use that Facebook account to comment in the group. I literally have not even friended Erin with that account.
I think
true.
specifically because I just sent Michael a friend request.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it just
I didn't see that.
It just suggested for the first time.
I didn't even see it. So it wasn't you, but I was like, I think I saw that there was a couple on there because literally I only go on the account to look at the group and that is it. And I don't even have the app on my phone. I just go through a browser.
Okay,
so like
21 minutes ago, I got this text. Okay, I'm confused. Listen to you calling him. Have I been listening to work? Have I been calling him the wrong name for so many years? He's obviously David Michael David. I thought he was Michael David, but is he really Michael Daniel? And then there's a screenshot of a friend suggestion for Michael Daniel. So Jennifer Taylor would like to know who you are, Michael.
Didn't it also at one point say Michael Leslie or something?
That's Run
Michael
Disnerd.
Leslie's
that's Run Disnerd.
That's Run
Oh,
Disnerd.
that's Run Disnerd.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm a ghost on there. Like
God.
that account is not used for anything.
That's so funny.
I mean, who knows? By the time this show comes out, I may not even have the account anymore. I hate Facebook a lot. So there's no offense to anybody. It's just how I use that account. And it is literally for two things. It's for the Will Run For group and it's for the Skyrim podcast group. And that's it.
Oh, also, one thing I am going to update probably today about costumes on the Facebook group. So it might be a little late by the time this episode comes out for if anybody wants to plan anything. But for the 5K, Tom and I are going to do like Run Disney signs. So we'll probably just do something kind of on our own there. Spoilers. I don't want to spoil what we're doing. For the 10K, we are doing Disney 90s, Disney Afternoon in the 90s. So DuckTales, Rescue Rangers, any of that fun stuff. So feel free. I created a Word doc or a Google Doc. If you guys want to see what everybody else is doing, but feel free to jump in for that. For the half, we actually decided we're doing Star Wars, which we're going off brand. So we're doing Star Wars characters for the half. And then for the full, we are doing the 90s Race You to the Castle raw threads. So I'll post all of that if anyone is interested in. You don't have to match us, but if you feel like it, you're more than welcome.
I am doing none of that, so I actually am not 100% sure what I'm doing for the 5K still.
I have a secret possible costume.
Which Michael had said that he may want me to be a part of. Someone asked me to be the dog Peter Pan. I haven't quite decided
Nana?
what's happening there. Yes, Nana. With the like little cap.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the 10K, I'm being a Kevin. For the half, I am being a Mouseketeer again. All are welcome to be a Mouseketeer. If you'd like to be a Mouseketeer, let me know because we have friends who are doing the pressing for the names and the Mouseketeer mayhem on the back. And then I'm not running the full, so I don't have to worry about that.
Nope.
There you go.
Cool.
Join us or don't. It's fine.
Yeah. Whatever you want to do.
Most people probably have their costumes at this point.
I'm 100% sure. Also, whenever I was part of Team Shenanigans, I never did the Shenanigans costume. I always did my own thing. So whatever you want to do is totally fine.
Mine is not Disney related. So there's that.
Oh, God.
Not at all.
No, tangentially, it is. Tangentially.
Is like Disney does it? Do they produce that? Did they produce? Okay.
No, we're not spoiling it.
Then I don't understand how it would even be tangential.
I'll explain afterwards.
Okay. God help us all.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of our marathon weekend preview. Thank you all for listening.
How you feeling, Tom, after this preview?
Ready to go. Just have a few more training runs, and then I am all in.
All in.
But I am focused. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. We look forward to seeing everybody down there. It's just going to be a lot of good times. So I will leave you with a few quotes.
Ben Franklin.
From
Ben Franklin?
Perhaps you've heard
Ben
of
Franklin?
him. I think his name is Walt Disney.
Oh, God.
In the spirit of Dopey.
That guy.
All right. I'm just going to sit here and listen and tell you which ones are not.
Okay, so
What was I saying?
these are attributed to him on, I think this is called the internet.
The Googles.
Walt says, all of our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them.
That I don't know. Could be.
He reminds us that togetherness for me means teamwork. And then lastly, if you can dream it, you can do it.
That is not Walt Disney.
Okay, you know.
I think that one we have established previously. It wasn't Walt Disney.
That is attributed to him a lot.
All right, whatever. Finally, he says.
You did with the other two because I didn't know the other two.
Okay. How about this one? We'll end it on this one. The difference between winning and losing is most often not quitting.
I can't tell
I feel
you.
like that was Vince Lombardi.
Well, apply all of that to Dopey or whatever you're training for, and we will see you in Walt Disney World in January.
Yes.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.